Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Midweek War. We are here to talk Lucha Underground and Eamon. Oh, it was a show.
It was a show.
I'm Mad Mike. You know that. I'm flustered because it's Lucha Underground, and it's always exciting to talk about. And with me, as always, is the voice of Inspired Pro Wrestling and definitely not wearing Kristen Shaw hair this week, Eamon Payton. How are you, sir?
I'm ready. Let's do this. I thought I was going to make a louder noise when I cracked my knuckles.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It was very anticlimactic.
That was very anticlimactic. No, I'm very excited to talk about this week's episode. I'm sad I didn't get to talk about last week, so it wasn't on because I was doing other stuff. But
yeah, well, we missed you, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
We missed you. But speaking of this week's, ¿cuál es tu una palabra para Lucha Underground? See, I'm going to say for this week.
I'm gonna say in both contexts it's one word. Killshot.
Yeah.
Because even if we're talking out of the name, there's probably a hyphen there, so whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I'll go with it. My una palabra is going to be. Oh man. Because I was gonna say something related to Killshot, and you kind of killed it.
I Killshotted it.
I will say fame.
Jesus.
Yes. All right. So Eamon, what was your bueno for this week?
My bueno for this week actually doesn't go with my word, but it was the main event between Fenix and Matanza. I didn't get to talk about last week's show. I thought this was a really great main event, and I think it kind of added some things where I felt the Pentagon Matanza match last week was kind of lacking. There was a level of viciousness to this that I really enjoyed. It had me like on my seat at points, and it was not. I mean, people called it a squash, which I guess like technically it is, but like it was still something that was that was really captivating. Fenix, the guy who's beaten Mil Muertes, so he's in theory may have the best chance of beating Matanza, like hit him with everything, and like nothing affected him at all, and there was some amazing stuff like the that power slam he gave him on the floor off of that dive, and then just some of the shots he was giving him were really, really great. The German into the corner, really, really great stuff, and I really have enjoyed them building Matanza as a monster heel.
Yeah, I really. It's difficult for them to do something like Matanza and have him be dominant, but still have competitive matches. And so far, they've been able to pull it off, I think.
I think so, too. I think Fenix didn't really look bad in this loss, because he was trying his best to hit him with everything. Mm-hmm. It just wasn't effective.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many more people they can do this with.
Well, if we're going towards what looks to be his next challenger, that could be interesting.
Yeah, and that one has me a little worried, I think. You know who I would like to see if we don't go right to Mil? I would love to see Cage versus Matanza.
Oh, that could be fun.
I think either Cage or the Mac. Because I don't want him to jump from the little guys like Fenix and Pentagon right to Mil. I want to see an intermediate.
Cage could be interesting as well because they're both big on the no sell. Mm-hmm. Like Cage can get hit in the head with a cinder block and be okay. So,
and as we all know, glass does not affect him.
He does not get glass. Doesn't matter to Cage. One last thing though about the main event that I really love, that I think is the best thing about this whole Matanza stuff, is we now get Dario Cueto as a manager. And he is so good as a manager.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
For somebody that has come into this with no, is only an actor and has no like wrestling experience, he's a fantastic manager.
It's like Dana Brooke, but evil.
Yeah.
like if Dana Brooke was super bloodthirsty.
Just some of the, like he was. I loved how kind of calm he was. Like you got the sense that he's confident with Matanza. Like he was never like when Phoenix with him, he never really felt like, oh shit, he's gonna lose. Like he knew Matanza was gonna carry through. I love where, and he said it in Spanish, but Vampiro translated in English, where he said "Remember Mom" to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's awesome. Like,
and he kept screaming "Sangre, sangre," like he wanted blood. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really fantastic, and I love the stuff. I loved Katrina coming in at the end, both because obviously there's tensions between her and Dario. I liked it also because, I mean, we mentioned it before. There was a bit of a, not necessarily sexual tension, but there's some kind of like link between her and Phoenix that we've seen in past episodes. So for her to kind of come to Phoenix's aid was interesting.
I don't know who's best to do this, either Katrina or Vampiro or Mill himself. I want someone to train Phoenix in the ways of the dark arts, and we can get like a dark Phoenix.
Well, I think it was Tonya that said it on Twitter. What happens if we get a union between the two of them?
Oh, that'd be really good. Like, and I mean, you know me, I'm all about the like comic crossovers, and the Dark Phoenix saga in the X-Men is a huge deal. But you could absolutely do it with this. Like, if somehow Phoenix was able to harness the powers that Katrina has from her rock,
yeah,
that could blow the whole game up, which would be amazing.
Absolutely. What would be your good for Lucha Underground this week?
Mi bueno, I'm just gonna say the Killshot stuff.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit, snacks!
It's amazing how they can take somebody like Killshot, who we haven't really gotten a lot of character work from, and immediately get his story.
Mm-hmm. Just get like, and this is honestly the first time in pro wrestling I've been interested in a former military character.
Sorry, Chris Melendez.
Sorry, Chris Melendez. Apologies to Sergeant Slaughter. Like, wow, really, really good. And because this is one of the things that when they showed that preview, I was waiting for this. Like, I didn't know when it was going to happen in the series, but I'm like, why the fuck does Killshot have a sniper rifle? And they showed us why. He's like Black Ops, like SEAL Team 6 type of shit. Right. And it was awesome. It was really, really good. Like, I want to, like, if they ever do, and this was rumored once upon a time, if they ever do make a Lucha Underground movie, I just want a movie of Killshot. Like, I just want a movie of his backstory, of him, like, teaming with a bunch of ground troops, but in a Lucha mask the whole time. Like,
yeah.
It's fucking great.
I was very disappointed in the fact that that we didn't keep up with the theme of this season of Lucha Ground, and the men that he was fighting in the military weren't also wearing Lucha masks.
Yeah, I mean, just everyone. I want to live in a world where there are this many people wearing Lucha masks.
Like, it's just like we're in a fantasy world where everyone has a mask on.
Oh God! All right. Well, Eamon, not every show is perfect. Naturally, Qualis to Malo this week.
My bad for this week. And let me preemptively say this: I actually did like this match this week. But I've heard this kind of critique throughout people who have watched Lucha Underground. And I am going to give my bat to Cobra Moon. Just for, you could tell, obviously she's not completely at that level yet, but she's getting there. Like in the early parts of the match, some things were a little bit shaky, but once it kind of got kicked off and started getting into things, the match was still pretty good. But it was just that kind of opening kind of, chemistry thing, I guess, with her and Evilise. But like I said, at the end of it, I ended up really enjoying that match.
I think my Malo is going to go to the team of Mac and the Moths.
Oh yeah.
Not that I didn't enjoy the match. I liked the match a lot. I feel like this should have been sexy. I feel like it should have been Sexy Star teaming with, like, being forced to team with the Moths instead of the Mac.
Yeah, I think I see what you're saying. I think it would have told a bit of a different story in the match. just from the fact that we're supposed to believe that Sexy at this point, obviously before the match ended, is intimidated by Mariposa and is really been almost shaken to the state of fear where she can't really even function properly.
Right.
So I think I can see what you're saying. I just feel like it would have told a different story in the match.
I think it's just because there's such a huge dichotomy from the backstage segment to cut to quick jump. Sexy starts totally fine and is kicking ass again. Like we don't see what like was it just Mac's speech? Because I didn't really. I think
it was Mac's speech to a degree. You could tell when she came in to save Mac, there was still a level of like it took her a bit to kind of realize like, you know what, I can't put up with this shit anymore, you know. Because I think Mariposa like throws her down or whatever and starts trying to intimidate her again, basically, before Sexy realizes that she needs to snap out of it.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just one of the little things. I mean, it was very, very nitpicky because this was overall a really good episode. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I would have liked to see a bit more of the development, like how that changed. And I think if she was involved in the match, and maybe she saw like people beating the crap out of Mariposa, she'd be like, "Wait a minute, she's just another wrestler. Like I can do this too, you know? Like maybe if it was because it could turn into like a handicap match where Sexy's too afraid to even get on the apron. I think it could have been kind of fun that way, but you know, I mean, it still worked. Still overall worked. And props to Cisco and Cortez for getting a win.
Yeah. That match was really fun, I felt.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what will be your cambio for this week, Amy?
My change for this week, and it's a very minor change. Usually mine's with Lucha very are. I would have loved something backstage involving either Fenix or Matanza before the match. Just to kind of, just something. Like, kind of how like we got before the Matanza Pentagon match of Dario like going into his cell to tell him to break his back or whatever. Like, just it wasn't anything necessary. I just would have loved something small to kind of, because it kind of was almost in a sense of like, they kind of just announced like Fenix is wrestling with Matanza this week, and they explained it perfectly fine. But like, you know, I don't know. I would have loved just a little something, but hey, that's kind of nitpicky.
Okay, my change. The temple needs to get more than one bathroom. More, they gotta get more than one bathroom because there are so many tense conversations that happen in that bathroom.
Yeah.
It is nice to know that they fixed the mirror in there though, from when Ian smashed his face against it.
Jesus.
Yeah, but the conversation with Vampiro and Dario was fucking dope.
Yeah.
I really like. I was waiting. I'm like, oh man, he's gonna drop the pills down the sink. He's gonna drop the pills down the sink. He didn't, but it really looked like he wanted to.
Yeah, I think we're eventually gonna get to that point, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a slow burn to it, and oh man, the payoff's gonna be fun. I can't wait.
Yeah.
All right. So we miss anything?
We missed a couple things.
Yeah.
That I think we need to talk about. We talked about backstage segments. There was a few others. You mentioned it in your word. Famous B.
Masquerita Sagrada's getting famous, y'all.
I love it so much. That was my favorite scene because it's also like they have the amazingly funny scene, including the number from 423 Get Fame like popping up on the screen. And then it just like Fame basically walks into the scene with Mac and Sexy Star, which I really liked. But yeah, that was really fun. And I love Masquerita Sagrada just lifting weights.
I really hope that the next time we see him, he is like a little pimp. I really hope. Like he's got like the big long leather coat on that drags on the floor because it's not fit for him.
No.
Like I want to see so many things.
I'm very excited for that. And then possibly one of my favorite, I guess, backstage-esque sort of segments, the formation of our next trios team. With
what was that?
with El Dragon Azteca Jr.,
Yes, of course.
Rey Mysterio, and now a speaking Prince Puma.
Yeah, he did not sound how he kind of sounds like. Oh, what's his name?
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
I'm kidding. He doesn't sound like that. No, it was good.
I love that scene so much. Like, it felt like I can't think of what it would be called in like a movie, but like that scene where you're about to lead into that big like battle. You know what I mean?
It's when it's the scene in the Avengers movie where they're all circled around.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
I loved it so much. I love the fact that the question mark on the Lucha Underground sign is a bat symbol for Rey Mysterio. I think it's amazing.
I did ask Chris DeJoseph that when he was on the show. I did ask that, so it's nice to get confirmation on stuff like that.
Yeah. It was super fun. I'm very excited, and I'm excited for them because they seem like a very formidable trio. So,
who would you like them to go against?
I don't know.
Because me personally, Johnny, Taya,
and Jack Evans.
And Jack Evans.
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
Oh, I want to see it so bad. I want to see Taya just manhandle Rey Mysterio.
And in theory, I find it very interesting because in theory, say they advance, they'd be facing Joey and the crew, which I think could be very interesting. Hey, Tony Garza's here. I think, possibly.
Just showing up late to the party, as always.
It is Pentagon Senior, man.
Oh.
Esta noche soy cero.
Wow. Tonio, we were just discussing we got through most of Lucha Underground, but we were discussing the formation of the new trios team with El Dragon Azteca, Rey Mysterio, and Prince Puma. What are your thoughts on that?
It's an interesting team. I mean, they have to be the number one contenders at the end because they're just like an OP team.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine any other team having more than they do. So it's going to be interesting. I was really surprised that we finally got to see Prince Puma talk.
Yeah.
It felt so groundbreaking.
Mm-hmm. And I also found it interesting, like you mentioned the number one contenders thing. I like that they mentioned we don't know if this tournament is for the number one contendership.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know what it's for because Dario is just the kind of guy that doesn't,
Maybe it's just for a unique opportunity.
I mean, yes, eventually. Well, when they posted the advertising for the tournament, they had a picture of the titles, so I assumed it's gonna be for the number one contenders.
I think it'll be interesting to see what he comes up with. But yeah, was there anything else? We covered a good chunk of it, but was there anything from Lucha Underground that stuck out to you this week?
This week I was just super excited about finally getting Mil Muertes into the mix of the final the main event scene. It was interesting that they saved Fenix from getting his ass kicked. So I immediately started thinking about names of tag teams for 1,000 Deaths and 1,000 Lives. And
clearly it'd be Life After Death.
Yeah, something like that. Live and let die. During the show, I was starting to think that I think they're playing something interesting with Matanza, where he defeated the hardcore guy, he defeated the fast guy, and now he's gonna go fight the powerhouse. So it's kind of like they're showing that Matanza can hang with anyone and that he has no weaknesses. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually do a Matanza versus Mil Muertes just one-on-one, because that sounds like a main event for a Ultima Lucha. So I don't know if they're gonna do it just straight up on the next shows.
Yeah,
I have a feeling it's probably gonna be like a group effort to take down Matanza.
Yeah, possibly.
I think that's Matanza should be the perfect contender for whoever joins the 7 Gold Tribes coins, aka the Gift of the Gods. Because you join the tribes. Yeah.
Which I believe
You know who that's gonna be, right? I'm guessing Dragon Azteca.
I was gonna say I'm getting more.
Ah.
Yeah, I
Also,
think it's Pentagon would be great, but everything I think is definitely kind of pointing to Dragon Azteca. I'm very interested to see, because and they hinted to it a lot in that promo with Mysterio. I like the fact that he's still on this journey to get to that point where he could beat Matanza.
yeah.
Which I'm interested to see. But yeah, I like the fact that every match that Matanza's had now, there's that sense of, oh well, maybe something could, because I mean Phoenix beat Mill, so he had the best chance of beating anybody. So like, who was to say what's going to happen with Matanza and Mill down the line? It may not be as cut and dry as people think.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I mean, Matanza was, Mil Muertes was technically the first guy to actually hurt Matanza in a way that Matanza had to, like, get out of the ring.
mm-hmm.
And, like, we haven't seen that from anyone. Not Rey Mysterio, not Prince Puma, not Pentagon, or Phoenix. I mean, Pentagon and Phoenix only got, like, small flurries of hope offense. But they never looked, like, stronger or anything than Matanza. And I think Mill kind of did that. So, Mill could be our guy.
See, I have a feeling that Mill isn't going to be, because if Mill just comes in and runs roughshod, then we're kind of back to where we were.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I think Mill will probably there's gonna be something down the line where someone tricks Dario into having a multi-man match. And I can see where that would be problematic for Matanza.
Well, I think also there's a lot of intersecting stuff with Matanza, Mill, El Dragon Azteca, the like you said, the Lucha Undercover guys trying to get Dario, stuff like that. I think obviously Pentagon in there as well. Like, there's a lot of ways you can go with it. So I think once we get closer to the end of the season, I'm interested to see where all these characters sort of lie in this kind of puzzle.
Yeah. I think Mill was gonna give him the best match so far.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree. Like, Matanza's gonna like keep the title. And yeah, like you're saying, we have all these guys that right now are just like so high on the totem and should at some point clash all together, I guess. Because I mean, Pentagon's coming back like stronger than ever, especially now that Vampiro's like getting pissed off at Dario.
Mm-hmm.
That Dragon Azteca and Mysterio and Puma, I mean, they have their own shit going on, but they're eventually gonna come back to the main event scene.
Yeah.
And Mil Muertes is just Mil Muertes.
I'm so excited. I'm very excited for Matanza Mill, just to see if Matanza can throw around Mill like he's been throwing around the guys that he's been throwing around.
Yeah.
Like, that dude's slowly becoming my favorite wrestler, like in a matter of 2 weeks. Like, I'm very excited.
I really hope Famous B pushes Masquerita into a match with Matanza. I hope we get a segment of Famous B just strutting into Dario's office, and he's like, "Hey, my main man Dario, my main man DC, like, I got a boy here who's ready to get famous, and he wants a shot at your brother." Like, I want this so badly, so badly. I think it would be amazing. It's like, it would kind of be like the equivalent of Evilise getting the shot against Mill.
Mm.
Like, I want to see it so bad.
But yeah, that was Lucha Underground. I'll start with you, Mike. Where would you rank Lucha this week?
Well, full disclosure, I did not get a chance to see Ring of Honor tonight because I didn't think I would be on tonight's show. But I ranked it number 1. Definitely, they're back to form. This whole week, this whole episode was amazing. I love the Killshot stuff. I want more of it.
Tell me, where would you rank Lucha Underground this week?
Well, I actually didn't see any wrestling this week because I'm still having my hangover from the WrestleMania weekend. So I'm gonna give it number 1 by default. But I'm pretty sure it would be number 1 regardless. I've read reviews of the rest of the stuff, so yeah, it's probably number 1.
That's fair. The guy who watched Impact Wrestling, who likes Impact Wrestling, by the way, only watch Lucha. I'm gonna rank it number one as well. I'm very happy that with this week's episode, like I said, I felt last week. Last week was good, but there was something about the Pentagon Matanza match last week that was kind of off, and I think they really redeemed themselves with the Fenix Matanza match. And yeah, this was overall a really great episode of Lucha Underground. But yeah, Mad Mike, where can they find not just you, but all of us on the internet?
Well, you can find me at MadMike4883 on the Twitter machine, and also go to WrestlingMayhemShow.com. If you found us and you haven't seen the main show, gotta go to the main show because Jesus, there's a lot more of us just talking about all things professional wrestling. How about you, Eamon?
You can find me on Twitter at Eamon2, please, and also check out the wrestling promotion I'm involved with, which is Inspire Pro Wrestling, over at InspireProWrestling.com.
And how about you, Garza?
You can find me at The Wrestling Revolution for the Twitter, so you can go to TheWrestlingRevolution.com, where you can read all the reviews of pretty much all the shows that happened during WrestleMania weekend, Evolve, Shimmers, WrestleMania, NXTs, and Lucha Underground. So go and check it out.
Alrighty, and well, basically, for Eamon, for Antonio Garza, I'm Mad Mike, and this has been your Midweek